Okay, so this will be the introduction. I built this and made a lot of hacks and mistakes that made me realize some things that will be described in the end of the video. The purpose is to showcase how this frame works. It was designed and works if you do things in the right order. That is the introduction. Okay, so I'm back to describe how I will solder this together. But firstly, I need to make these holes in this board fit the 3mm of this one for the M3 screws. It can't center. Yeah, it's an M3 screw. So I will just drill the holes as regular. And now I will do the same for the other 3 boards and return. Okay, so I have drilled the holes so it goes through. The screws go through. Both the mounting holder and the PCB. Okay, so what is this now? Well, it is a resistor lead bender. And it can use the entire length. Yeah, that was the most not optimal of the because it's very thin. You need to use your nail for that one. So now it's pretty sleek. I need to just make it a little bit darker. Okay, so yeah, it bends outward a little bit. And that's not optimal, but it's pretty straight in both directions. And to prove that it's straight. Okay, so to prove that this becomes straight, I will try to just get it out of here gently and then drop it in here, for example. Then it can be a good idea to pull a little bit from behind, and it's pretty flush. Yeah, it's pretty flush to, yeah. But this is not optimal because it takes a lot of time to then just get the same exact issue that you need to bend these or cut them afterward, and that takes a lot of time. So instead I will pre-cut them, since it's a 1.6mm board. I will well, first I will show that it works this one works. The distances in this one would work to cut them in the line. Yeah, it works good enough to drop it in here. Yeah, so yeah, but the walls are too thin. So I've tried and I cut this one. It's just a, what is it even? So looking through the lens, it's 3 point something, 3.3 maybe. Yeah, I shouldn't look through the camera lens and screen. that's not the most exact measurements. Okay, so I can bend 8 small resistors and 8 big resistors at a time. So I will try to cut 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops. Yeah. It would be more practical to have another tool for this. Okay, so I will try to cut them. Yeah, it's not that hard to cut. And then turn it all around. Oops. Yeah, okay, so. Yeah, the issue is finding them again. Okay. Okay, so now it's a little bit careful placement of these. Okay, so I've aligned all 8, and now I will try to bend it without hitting the camera. Yeah. One could have created another tool for this, to just put up on top of it. Maybe even pneumatic one. But I think that would have overcomplicated everything. And yeah, I will cut there and find the lost one and bend it. Okay, so they are all sort of bent, but maybe a smart idea would be to bend the entire leg so it's more straight, and then cut it afterwards in pre-made holes. But that's another step, and I don't know. So I will now try to put these into the PCB. So I will start with 2. So the trouble is that you need to press it a little bit. You get the angle correct at the right place. It's just that you need to... Oh, that was too much. Yeah. So yeah, they are very tiny. And I could of course have used a better plier. Oh. Okay, so there we go. And then I can turn it around to see if there is anything to solder on top of. Yeah, it's a very tiny soldering, but it is, yeah, there are 2 legs here. It's very hard to record. Wrong direction. Yeah, you can see that there are 2 pins here, so it is just enough to solder the through holes. As you can see, I have a lot of work cut out for me, but I will just show that you can also use the 40mm. I mean, for the larger, quarter watt resistors. I will just cut 2 off to bend. It's 220 ohm. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Alright, the lead bender. Okay. So I will just spend one of these. Oops. And then I will find somewhere where they go. I guess here. Yeah, it's a little bit dark. Wrong one. Okay, so we can go up here. And then it's still a little bit not 90 degrees. Close enough, I think. I will use the plier again. Okay, so yeah, it's not exactly 90 degrees, but yeah, it's even more, what do you call it? Yeah, it's even bigger pins to solder. Oops, there I dropped a 10K resistor. So I need to bend all resistors that I will use and then put this on and then flip it. Okay, so now I bent and mounted all the resistors and I've put on paper. I will try to move it away. I put on paper the number of resistors each. Now I will attempt to put this plastic on top of here without disrupting the short leads. Okay, so 1, 2. Let's start with the orthogonal. I will change angle. Okay, I should have realized that I should have started with 1/8 watt resistors and not do both 1/4 watt and 1/8 watt resistors. But we'll see how this goes, and I will solder this now. Okay, so I changed my mind and decided to add some paper in hope of stabilizing the pins. And we'll see if there's any of the resistors actually in place when I reopen it. But yeah, like I said previously, tomorrow and all the future I will just start with the small resistors before soldering the big resistors in place. Okay, so I've reached this far, and now I will think I soldered all the places. Next I will just remove this, and I think I may cut, so I may cut here. I will see how long it takes. Yeah. Okay, so they seem to be doing pretty well. But anyways, I will set this up and show the meaning of all these holes and these pockets. Okay, so I mounted the dip holders, both 16 and 28. And then I added the transistors as well. If I didn't have those nuts in place, maybe it would be more tight. Maybe try that next time. But this is good enough. They will probably not be completely straight, but yeah. Okay, so now I've attached the DIL holders and the transistor, and I think I should have also included the LEDs, because they are not very much taller than the transistor, and also because there are holes that will hold it. So I will attempt attaching the LEDs and see if I need to redo anything. Hopefully not. Okay, so I will just drop in these blue LEDs. And now I will place this in the right orientation. The holder for the switches is at the bottom, so it should be fine. That's not optimal. I need to remove this one from the holder. Shake it all around. Okay, so it's this side that isn't attaching. Yeah, I should definitely have put these in place before. I will try to remove a couple of nuts here. Okay, so I decided to yet again use paper, and they are pretty aligned now, the legs of the LEDs. I will see how straight it will turn out. But yeah, I started to sketch on a better... Yeah, first the small resistors, then the big resistors, then the 3mm LEDs, then the transistors, then the DIL-holders, and then the other things. I will see how it turns out. Okay, so I mounted the LEDs and they seem pretty straight actually. But yeah, so I updated the list of the order that I need to place it in, and it is basically, yeah, resistors, LED, transistor, DIL holder, push button and toggle switch, 7-segment displays, and then DC plug and screw terminals, and then there are some loose capacitors as well later, but yeah, that is a simple task to do at the end. So yeah, now I have these switches and push button here, and I will try to put this here. Yeah, just feels off. Yeah. Why can't I get this working? Okay, so the issue I was having was the bottom of these switches were a bit uneven, so I had to file down some of them. Now they look pretty straight and flat, but I will see tomorrow. Okay, so now I mounted these switches and soldered them in place. And now the next step, according to this, yeah, I realized that I couldn't mount the push button, so I had to change that. It would have been in the way for the holder. So instead, the next step is the 7-segment display. And here are the red ones. And again, I may cut here. Okay, so I've mounted the segment displays, red and green, and now I will attempt to put this in place. And yeah, I will screw it in place later, but I just wanted to ensure that I can push this in. Yeah, I will screw now and cut again. Okay, so I've screwed everything in place. And now I will cut these before soldering, because that is better than applying force to solder points. Yeah, I keep them long because I don't need them super short. And the remaining ones are like, I need to cut them, and that will take a while. As long as they're longer than these, it's fine, and they are. So yeah, that will take some time, and then I will solder it, and then I will add these DC plugs. So I will cut here. Okay, so now everything is in place and soldered in place. Next step is the DC plug and screw terminals. So here is a DC plug. It's supposed to fit right in here. Good enough. And so there is a small groove here, pocket here. And then these are supposed to hold the screw terminals in place. So yeah, they are cheap, so I can just put it on RGB too, even though I will probably not use it. Alright, so back again with this one. Yeah, it's in place. That's also in place. So yeah, I will just screw this in place and solder it. Okay, so I attached the push button, the crystal, the capacitors, and yeah. And also I tied the not connected things of the screw terminals to +5 volt and ground. And now I'm gonna solder this in place. So yeah, cut. Okay, so I changed my mind and instead will use screw terminals. It will not block the light too much, I think, and it's just a least significant bit. But yeah, I didn't design this holder for this, so let's see how it goes. I might need to put in some paper to make it sit perfectly good. Okay, so I've soldered everything in place, and I realized that I need some way of telling myself and anyone using it that this is 5 volts and this is ground. And in future I will use this unused terminal ground, and this especially this 5 volt one, because that 5 volt it was really thin and it was long. It goes, I don't know how long, but this 5 volt, the unused filter 5 volt, that one is very much usable to just put it up, same way as the terminal ground can be tied to the not connected here. Yeah, I may even do this to this one. Yeah. Anyways, except that lesson, there is the lessons of, oh yeah, I need to switch down. It is the lessons of which order to mount things, which will save me a lot of time, and the hacks. And yeah, then the last thing is I will attempt using 5mm legs for the resistors in the next version, but I think I will go with the 3mm, maybe add some tape. So in future I will make it probably 4mm wide, the 3D printed part to cut to length. And same with the resistor leg bender. I will make these pathways, pockets 0.1mm deeper, probably at least 0.1mm or more wider. They are different width, like the quarter watt is way wider, so yeah, it should be enough to just have 0.1mm extra for both, maybe 0.2. Yeah, and that is the 2 lessons learned. Okay, so I made I pulled the ground and 5 volts to the not connected terminals of the screw terminals. And I bent them using this lead bender with size 6 for the ground and 7 for the 5 volt. It's slightly longer. Okay, so now I've soldered the quarter watt resistors in place, and it looks like a hedgehog. But it's much easier to visually inspect it when I cut it to length using the 5.5mm instead of the 3.2mm. So 4mm would be perfect if you're using this lead bender to cut, to bend them to this dimension. Yeah, so I will use 4mm in the future, because this sticks out roughly 2, 4, roughly 2, yeah, at least 1mm. Okay, so I discovered a useful thing. I have 2 nuts here. So the nut is, exactly what it is. Yeah, it's hard to keep focus, so yeah, I think it's 2.5mm. And then I just squished the, let me try to increase the ISO rating. So I squished the LEDs here, and I can't move them very much. So yeah, that is extremely useful. And that's all I wanted to say.